Hello students, welcome to another new session of Social Studies digital class. Hope you are all doing good. Children, today we are going to start a fresh chapter, that is chapter 18, Expansion of Democracy. Children, in the previous session you have learnt about different forms of government, that is previously people were ruled by monarchies like kings and emperors, and later colonialism started. That means, what is colonialism? So colonialism is ruling one country by another country. Say for example, India was a colony for Britishers. So Britishers ruled over our country. Britain was also a country, and now India is also a country. So Britain ruled our country. So in this way we can say it is a political authority on another country. One country rules over another country. So under colonialism, even in previous chapters we learnt that people suffered a lot. Even in the previous chapter we learnt that how people were, they have fought against rulers. So they fed up with the ruling principles and they have fought against the colonialism. So they wanted the rulers of their wish. So let us see in this chapter about expansion of democracy. So what is democracy? Democracy is people's government. So the rulers are elected by the people of their choice. So it is people's power, people's authority. So in Abraham Lincoln definition also it is clear that it is democracy is a government of the people, by the people and for the people. So in the beginning of the 20th century this form of government gained very popularity. So let us see in this chapter how democracy expanded all over the world. Children, in this chapter we are going to learn about two countries where the people fought for democracy, that is Libya and Myanmar. This lesson we will learn in two parts. Today in part 1 we will study about Libya. Okay children, are you all ready with your textbooks? Okay, let's go forward. Children, see the location of Libya in the world map. So it is located in the northern part of African continent. So Libya is here. Children, by the end of this session you will be able to respond how the people struggled for democracy, and you will be able to analyze what are the conditions that pose for establishing a democratic government, and you will be able to identify where the Libya in the world map, the location of Libya in the world map. Let us see the situation in Libya. Libya was a poor country in North Africa which had colonized by Italy. So it was a colony for Italy before. Then for a long time after struggling, it became free in 1951. So King Idris ruled the country with few rich powerful families. So after attaining independence in 1951, Libya was ruled by King Idris with the help of few rich families. In Libya, there were different tribal people depending mostly on agriculture and also animal rearing in the deserts. Children, in deserts what kind of animals we can see? Yes, camels, mostly camels. So the people's occupations were mostly agriculture and animal rearing, and these tribes were dominated by tribal chiefs. So for every tribe there will be one leader. So every tribe dominated by a tribal chief, head person of that tribe. The future of Libya changed after finding petroleum under the grounds of this country. So remember, vast petroleum reserves found in Libya in 1959. So, and a lot of wealth poured into the country. Children, we all know that petrol is a very expensive material and it is very precious one. So, it is not available in all the countries. So, after finding this petroleum under the grounds of Libya, this country started gaining profits. But the king and few families who were ruling the country, they only enjoyed most of this new wealth. Whatever the profits they were gaining from this petroleum, only it is shared with king and few families, not distributed among all the people. It's not used for the welfare of all the people. It was only in the hands of few families and the king. So, people started revolting against this situation. New wave of nationalism. What is nationalism? Feeling for the country, a strong desire to be united and develop their country. So, young people wanted to establish a modern state with unity and peace. They also wanted to ensure that the new wealth from the oil was distributed equally to all. People wanted whatever the profits they were gaining from the sale of petroleum, they wanted a share among all the people equally so that the country will be developed. Libya becomes a republic. Children, what is republic? If a country after gaining independence, still if it is ruling by a king or emperor, that is not republic. A country is republic where the head of the country is from different families or different professions. So, in 1969, Muammar Gaddafi and a group of 70 young army officers took over the control of Libya. This group is known as Free Officers Movement. Then King Idris I, he fled away from the country. That means he left the country in fear of threat. And now Libya monarchy was abolished. Monarchy means mono means single ruling. King's ruling was abolished, cancelled. Now the country declared as Socialist Libyan Arab Republic. Now the country is not a monarchy country, it is now a republic country. Okay, then under the leadership of this Revolutionary Command Council RCC of 12 military members from the military was appointed to govern the country. Libya was a modern egalitarian, means equal in social. Socially all are equal. And this country followed the basic tenets of Islam. Tenets means principles. This country mostly followed the Islam religion. Let us see the society of Libya. Initially, this Libyan society, as I already told you, there were many tribes. So, these tribes led by the tribal chiefs. And all these tribal people, they are more concerned about their own tribe than the welfare of all the people. And there was very poor nomadic animal herders. Children, what is the meaning of nomadic? Nomadic life means the people, they don't settle in one place. They will be moving from one place to another. Okay, the animal herders. Herders means the people who rear the animals. So, for example, in deserts, mostly animal herders were camel herders. So, they will be moving from one place, they will stay for few months and then later they will move to another place. So, they during their whole life, they will be moving from one place to other. That is nomadic life. Most of the Libyan people were nomadic. And most of these nomadic people were illiterates. In this society, women confined to parda. They cover their heads with cloth. And they were not allowed in public activities also. So, this is the situation in Libya before democracy. Okay children, did you understand? Let us see the new regime. Regime means rule. Let us see the new regime in Libya. After a new government formed by military, they have nationalized the oil resources. Now they are not in the hands of few people. So they have nationalized, means the profits will be distributed among the people. So nationalization means it will be in the hands of government. And program for extension of cultivation by giving irrigated lands to the end nomadism. So the government wanted the people to be developed so that there should be an end of nomadic life. The people should settle in one place by doing some agriculture or any other occupation. So they have given some irrigated lands to the poor people so that they will cultivate the land and settle in one place. For that they have made some programs. And free universal education for all, including women. Even this government started free education program for everyone, including women. So they wanted to remove the illiteracy. So for this purpose they made this program. And free medical care for all. See, this government made another welfare program, that is giving free medical aid to the people. And distribution of oil profits among all the citizens. So whatever the profits they are getting by selling the petrol, that profit is used for welfare of all the people. And one more major reform was to ensure freedom and equal status to women. Previously women were not allowed in public activities and there were many restrictions among women. Later there were many reforms started for developing women. And now women are allowed have property or to make business and to take up jobs in even government. So previously it was not there, and women were given education and then they were allowed to do their any profession of their choice. After giving all these welfare measures, this country has changed a lot. Let us see. As a result of all these things, Libya achieved the highest levels of social welfare in the whole Africa. So this is the biggest achievement. Whole African continent only, Libya achieved the highest levels of social welfare. And then average life expectancy increased from 50 years to 77 years. So the people are now aware of their health. They were health conscious and they were taking care, and free medical camps were done. The life expectancy increased. And literacy rate for both men and women is over 90%. This is also a biggest achievement of this country. Previously in Libya most of them were illiterates. Now it is more than 90% were literates. So there was a fast development took place in Libya. Children, though this country was ruled by military officers, group of military, this government made so many welfare measures. But later soon what happened? They have started a dictatorial ruling. See children, revolutionary councils. Dictatorial functioning helped few powerful families control the government and the RCC and the oil companies. So slowly what happened? This government and RCC and the oil companies also came under the hands of few people or few families. So one kind of dictatorial ruling started in Libya. Children, what is dictatorship? So there will be only a single person or a few people, they will take the decisions in the government. So that is unquestioned leadership. Dictatorship means unquestioned leadership. So whatever the government says, the people have to follow. So there is no freedom for the people's choice. So this kind of dictatorship started in Libya, under which people frustrated and they have started rebelling against the government. Now let us see what is Arab Spring. In the later half of the 2010, movements for democracy across the Arab world took place. It began with a small country, Tunisia, and spread to other 5 countries, that is Egypt, Libya, Yemen, Bahrain and Syria. Children, you can see in this map, here is a Libya and just beside Libya, here is a Tunisia. So these movements for democracy started from this small country. Here you need one interesting thing, how this Arab Spring started. In this Tunisia country, there was one fruit vendor. So one fine morning he was getting ready for his selling of fruits. So when he started, he was setting his wooden cart with fruits. Then police people arrived and they restricted him for selling the fruits. For this, that man did not agree. Then there was some conflict or quarrel between the police people and this vendor. So in that anger, one policeman slapped him on the face. So with that anger, this fruit vendor, in front of a government building, he committed suicide. So this small incident later flamed and they have started revolt. It was spread to other areas. This news was spread to other areas and later it turned into a violent reform. It turned into a violent incident. So all over the country people started rebelling against the government's action. This revolutionary wave of demonstrations and protests and wars taking place in the Arab world that began in December 2010 is now famous as Arab Spring. Arab Spring was an anti-government rebel or a protest that was took over against the government and later it has spread to other parts of the Arab world in the early 2010. Let us see the changes in Libya. Under this movement for democracy in the cities like Benghazi, the civic amenities, the children, the meaning of civil amenities is nothing but the basic needs of the people. Civic means people. Amenities means necessaries. Like what are the basic needs of the citizen? There should be good, proper roads and railways or sanitation, water supply. So these kind of basic needs of the citizen are known as civic amenities. So in these cities, these civic amenities were deplorable. They were not having these facilities. And people became unemployed. There was no employment also to earn the money and to feed their families. And people started to share their misery through the internet. See, in that time, the people started sharing this news with other people in other parts of the world. Then the government started restriction on this. In 2011, a group of people began to protest over delay in building the houses and political corruption in the city of Baida. So this protest started peacefully in a street. Later it spread to other cities. Let us continue how the situation changed in Libya during this movement for democracy. By February, the protests began to turn violently. People began to get arms for themselves. What is the meaning of arms? Weapons. So people started having weapons for themselves. And then the rebels included professional soldiers and even ordinary people also, like lawyers, workers, engineers, teachers and even students. They all became as one association or an organization and they have started fighting rebel against the government. And these protesters attacked the government buildings and even they captured radio station also in Libya. So all these things people demanded for renewing earlier constitution, that means they wanted to change the constitution and establishing multi-party democracy. So people fed up off with this military ruling of one group of people ruling the country. They wanted a democracy, civil war. What is the meaning of civil war? A war within the country. A war not with the outsiders, not with another country, a war within the country. That means a war or a conflict between two groups of the people. Now all the people are one side and the government is another side. So this is civil war within the country of Libya. As all the people started rebel against the government, the Gaddafi government also tried to gather its supporters. So in the days following, there was a major civil war. Gaddafi government used his army and air force against the people to crush down the protests. See, the government even tried to attack the protesters, the common people who were protesting against the government. They started using firing on them even from the aircrafts. Seeing the situation in Libya, the other countries in the world, they wanted to interfere to bring peace in the country. Many powerful countries like the United States keen to intervene because of the desire to control the large oil reserves of Libya. Children, do you think why all these other foreign countries interested to interfere in the Libyan civil war or the conflict? It is because that Libya is having the petroleum reserves. To take the control over this, all these countries shown interest to interfere in the politics. Then the United Nations organization intervened in support of the rebels and declared Libya to be a no-fly zone. Children, what is United Nations organization? It is an organization which formed after Second World War. Yes? So, United Nations main aim is to gain peace by discussions in any country or one country with another country. If there are quarrels between the countries, this United Nations organization will interfere and try to settle the disputes among the countries. So this United Nations organization interfered and declared Libya as a no-fly zone, means above the Libyan territory no plane or aircraft should pass, even the government's aircraft also. Previously we have seen that the Libyan government itself throwing bombs on the protests from the sky aircraft. So for this purpose it has declared as a no-fly zone. Finally, the Libyan people eventually succeeded overthrowing Gaddafi regime. That means the end of Gaddafi's regime now. A new government was established and sworn in on 14th November 2012 as a result of free and fair elections. As people wanted, now the elections were conducted. See, in democracy, the rulers are elected by the elections. And they have also formulated an interim constitution. This is also according to people's wish. A new constitution was designed. There is possibility and hope of a democratic government in Libya even in the future. Now there is a hope that Libya will achieve 100% democracy in the future days. Okay children, with this we will conclude the first part of this chapter about Libya. In the next session we will learn about another country, how the people fight against the government and achieved democracy. So here are some important questions. Even though people much benefited by the Gaddafi government, why do you think they rose in rebellion against it? Children, in the starting we have seen the Gaddafi government made so many welfare measures. They have given free medical aid and they have given free education for everyone. So nationalization of oil resources. They have made so many welfare measures, but still why people rebelled against the government? So you need to read the textbook thoroughly and answer this question. And why are civil liberties important for a democracy? Civil liberties means freedom of thought, freedom of action, free in expression. So the civil liberties are very important in democracy. Then what is civil war? We discussed this. And then what is Arab Spring? You need to answer these questions by reading the textbook thoroughly. So children, in this session we have seen how the people of Libyan country, they have overcome the monarchy and even the military dictatorship and achieved the democracy for their country. In the next session we will see another country, Myanmar, and how they have achieved the democracy. So with this we will end the session. Hope you all understood well. For better understandings of the concept, please solve the worksheets given for you and please visit the official site of SIET. Thank you children.